I still have a lot to learn about producing videos, and that has kept me from producing videos before. So we've just moved into a new house with a new room. It's just kind of bare, and I wasn't going to produce a video at all. I did move this fern over, so there was at least something in the background. But I feel like the content's more important, and I feel like this content is important, so I do want to get this video out, whatever the quality. So this is Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 to 2, which I believe is an introduction to God, and not only an introduction to God, but an introduction to the Trinity. So for me, Genesis 1 is not an introduction to the creation. It is an introduction to God. Genesis chapters 2 and 3 with Adam and Eve, that's an introduction to man, to teach you about man. But Genesis chapter 1 is trying to teach you about God. So the initial teaching is that God is a Trinity. And it's really pretty cool how that comes across, because Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 starts with, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But John chapter 1 verse 1, the Gospel of John, first verse of that says, in the beginning was. So before God created the heavens and the earth, there was already something. In the beginning, he created the heavens and the earth, but in the beginning was. And in John 1:1, that was is the Word. In the beginning, the Word was already there. So in John 1:1, in John chapter 1, we learn that the Word was with God. The Word was divine. In verse 14, that the Word was flesh and dwelt among us. So obviously the Word becoming flesh is a reference to Jesus Christ. And verses 2 and 3 and kind of onwards talk about the fact that nothing was created apart from him. So in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, we have, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. But with God, we learn in John chapter 1, was the Word, and nothing was created without him. Nothing that was made without him. You get another beautiful picture of that in Proverbs 8:22 through 30. So that passage has not really been used for explaining who the Son of God was before the beginning for a very long time, because of the controversies over the Trinity that happened in the time of the Council of Nicaea, which was in 325, approximately 1700 years ago. And so the church stopped quoting Proverbs 8:22 through 30 in reference to the Son of God, because the heretic Arius and his kind of superiors in the church, Eusebius and a couple of other bishops who supported him, they were using that to teach a false doctrine. So I don't want to go into all that. You can learn about Arius and Eusebius of Nicomedia, who's not the same as Eusebius the historian. You can go into all of that in my other videos, my other writings, my book Decoding Nicaea. For now, what I want to cover is that Proverbs 8 verses 22 through 30 is a wonderful description of the creation and God creating everything through his Son, the Word, Jesus Christ. So Genesis 1:1 is kind of an introduction to the Father and Son for Christians, because that revelation wasn't really given to the Jews until Christ came. So John 1:1, Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and that was God creating all things through the Word, who already was in the beginning. And then in verse 2, we read that the earth was without form and void, and that the Spirit of God was hovering or brooding over the face of the waters. So Genesis 1 and 2 is introduction to God and introduction to him as a Trinity. And we'll talk about the other introduction that's in the rest of Genesis 1 in the next video. So if this did anything for you, despite my stuttering, despite my stumbling over my words, despite the sound or the lighting, then please click subscribe, and click the little button so you get notified of further ones, like when I do the next video. And thank you for bearing with this one.